Good morning. It's Tuesday, June 23rd, and we're talking this morning about fire from God from Deuteronomy 32. And in the debate over the issues of hell, one of the questions that believers struggle with is the fire that God threatens a literal fire, or is it a metaphorical fire? Does it imply the things that literal fire implies, or is it merely a symbol of suffering? Well, from today's text, it is quite clear that the fire that God is referring to is a metaphorical fire. But before we stop and say that hell is simply a place of suffering, we had better stop and think of what that metaphor implies, because in today's text, we see several specific instances of what that fire from God is going to do. It's going to kill. It's going to, the fire is going to burn to the depth of Sheol, which is the place where they bury people. It's going to bring disaster. It's going to bring death by hunger. It's going to bring arrows and swords and all of those things associated with death. Not something we want to dwell on, but the issue of hell is an important issue for all believers to own up to. For one thing, these Israelites had been rescued by God and had personally signed up to God's covenant. But it was these people that God threatened with this fire that would destroy them. Why? Because they rebelled against that covenant. We're not safe simply by signing on to Christianity. And that's not the message of any kind of Christianity, let alone Calvinism. Calvinism said that it's perseverance of the saints, not perseverance of the people who hypocritically sign on to the faith. No, if we have covenanted with God, we need to take that covenant seriously. And that means obeying what he says. Now, it's not salvation by that obedience. It's always salvation by grace, just as the Israelites were not saved by their obedience when they were rescued from Egypt. It was God's grace that rescued them from the hand of Pharaoh and from the slavery they were in. But then that God who rescued them offered them a life in his covenant and kingdom. It was at that point where they decided to turn. Were they really rescued then? Well, is a Christian really rescued today if they only take one part of God's plan for their rescue? Salvation by trusting in Christ is one part of God's plan for your rescue. It is enough because it will really rescue you. But if you don't follow through with the obedience that is a way of worshiping God for that rescue and a way of drawing others to him, then you really haven't signed on. You really haven't obeyed. The real question of hell is not the question of what it's going to be like. That is an issue that we theologians struggle with. But the real question of hell is, am I going there? Is my place in the pit of destruction that awaits all those who rebel against God? That's the real question that we all must face. And so we must every day re-examine our commitment to God and re-examine our trust in God. Have a great day. May God bless you.